Imagine sailing 13,000 miles around South America just to get from New York to San Francisco. Sounds fun, right? No? Well, that's exactly why everyone and their grandmother dreamed of slicing a shortcut through Panama. The Panama Canal is one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements, a 50-mile waterway that hacked through jungles, mountains, and mosquitoes to connect the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But this wasn't just some casual weekend project. Oh no, it involved French optimism and failure, American stubbornness and dynamite, mosquitoes with a taste for engineers, and Panama realizing it should own its own canal. Let's take a wild ride through the history of the Panama Canal, an epic tale of bad decisions, good shovels, and a whole lot of water. Way back in the 1500s, Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa looked across Panama and thought, a shortcut here would be nice. But in those days, digging a 50-mile ditch through a jungle wasn't exactly a realistic DIY project. So instead, the Spanish built a land route, hauling goods and unfortunate workers across the isthmus on foot. For about 300 years, everyone agreed a canal would be cool, but also agreed it was someone else's problem. Enter the French, who thought, how hard could it be? By the 19th century, the French were feeling cocky. They had just built the Suez Canal, which was basically a glorified trench through sand, and assumed they could do the same in Panama. Enter Ferdinand de Lesseps, the guy behind the Suez success, who showed up in Panama full of confidence and baguettes. Unfortunately, his brilliant plan ignored two major problems. One, Panama is not Egypt. Instead of flat desert, you get mountains, swamps, and aggressive wildlife. Two, mosquitoes are tiny flying assassins. Yellow fever and malaria wiped out tens of thousands of workers. The project turned into a nightmare with collapsing tunnels, endless mud, and a workforce that was literally disappearing. By 1889, the French had lost millions of dollars and most of their workers, leaving behind a jungle filled with rusting equipment and disappointed ghosts. Enter the United States, which saw a golden opportunity and ignored all the red flags. Part 3. America brings shovels and politics. By the early 1900s, President Theodore Roosevelt was in manifest destiny mode, and he really wanted a canal. One small problem. Panama was part of Colombia at the time, so in classic American fashion, the US gave Panama a little encouragement, aka helped them start a revolution, and boom, Panama was suddenly independent in 1903. Conveniently, they then gave the US control of the canal zone for a tiny fee of $10 million, plus an annual rent payment that was basically couch change for America. How the US succeeded, where the French failed. The US took one look at the French disaster and said, okay, let's actually plan this thing. Some of their brilliant and life-saving ideas included fighting the mosquitoes. Dr. William Gorgas figured out that mosquitoes were the real villains, not just an itchy inconvenience. So he drained swamps, fumigated everything, and turned Panama into an insect-free zone. Using locks instead of a sea-level canal, instead of trying to dig all the way down, engineers built massive locks and created artificial lakes, which was way smarter and way less deadly. Bringing dynamite, lots and lots of dynamite. Mountains, boom. Too much rock, boom. Problem, boom. After 10 years of backbreaking work, the Panama Canal officially opened on August 15, 1914, just in time for World War I to steal all the headlines. The first ship, SS Ancon, sailed through, and the world collectively high-fived itself. Part 4. The canal becomes a global power tool. The Panama Canal changed everything. Instead of ships sailing all the way around South America, they could now cut through Panama in just a few hours. This made global trade faster and cheaper. The US very powerful, Panama slightly irritated that it didn't own its own canal. For decades, the US controlled the canal, but as Panama grew stronger, people started asking, why don't we own the thing that's in our country? By the 1970s, things got tense and protests erupted. Finally, in 1977, President Jimmy Carter signed the Torrijos-Carter treaties, promising that the canal would be returned to Panama by December 31st, 1999. At midnight on New Year's Eve, Panama officially took control, probably while singing "We Are the Champions." Part 5, Fun Facts and Legendary Disasters. 1. The Panama Canal was almost built in Nicaragua. Before deciding on Panama, the US almost built the canal in Nicaragua. The deciding factor? A volcano erupted near the proposed site just as the vote was happening, and Congress thought, you know what, maybe let's not risk lava boats. 2. The entire canal runs on gravity. The locks don't use pumps or motors, they just use water pressure to move ships up and down, which is like a glorified slip and slide for cargo ships. 3. Accidents were suspiciously convenient. William II of England died in a hunting accident that helped his brother take the throne. Similarly, Panama's independence from Colombia was helped along by an American warship conveniently showing up just in time. Coincidence? Probably not. 4. The French left their junk behind, and it's still there. When the French abandoned their canal project, they left thousands of rusting machines in the jungle. Some of it is still there today, covered in vines, reminding everyone of their bad life choices. Conclusion: a ditch worth digging. The Panama Canal's history is a roller coaster of brilliant ideas, epic failures, and political maneuvering. It turned Panama into a global trade powerhouse, saved ships thousands of miles of sailing, and proved that mosquitoes are the real villains of history. And as the world continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the Panama Canal will always be the most important shortcut ever built. Attention, Internet people. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You now qualify for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Smashing that like button instantly increases your coolness by 327%, scientifically unproven but spiritually accurate. Subscribing guarantees good vibes and fewer traffic jams in your life. Hitting the notification bell may or may not summon a tiny dancing robot to your home, so go ahead, click those magical buttons before they get lonely. Otherwise, a mildly disappointed virtual pigeon will be sent to stare at you judgmentally. Thanks for watching, you're awesome.